Obviously, last couple of days acquired a couple players. Rasul Douglas by trade from Green Bay. That's still not 100% finalized. Not a lot of direct flights from Green Bay to Buffalo. So he's just getting here, getting him to the physical and all that stuff. But assuming all that goes well, so I don't know that he'll practice today. Hopefully, we can get him out there at least to watch at some point. And then we'll take it one day at a time. That'd be up to Sean and the coaches how much or what his game reps would look like this week. And then Leonard Fournette, added him to the practice squad. I've been talking to Leonard for a little bit. I got to know Leonard back in the pre-draft process. If you remember that draft, he went 4, and we took McCaffrey when I was in Carolina. So I spent a lot of time with him and Christian and went down to Baton Rouge and spent a whole day with him and got to know him. So know his background, and so it's good to see him again. He's obviously had a nice career, won a Super Bowl and all that good stuff. So just at this point, he had waited long enough. He was ready to join a team, and so I'm excited to get him here as well, starting him on the practice squad.
What was the attraction, your main attraction on Douglas?
Yeah, takes the ball away. He's really he's had a unique career. Philly drafts him, I think, 3rd round, and not everything was perfect there for him. He goes down to Carolina, still wasn't great, but I think went to Arizona's P squad. And when he went to Green Bay, just light came on for him. Started turning over some big plays, and very instinctive. We talk about instincts all the time, and that really, defining instincts is more the coach can show you everything, but sometimes the team's showing you something else that the coach hasn't shown you. And do you react right away? You just instinctively know what to do because you understand how it all fits together as if you're a coach. And some guys have that, some guys don't. If the coach didn't show it, they may not process exactly how to operate a different look. He is very instinctive.
Is that intangible, Brandon, help when he's coming in at this point with a lot on the line and, obviously down Trey White in the secondary, to have him kind of, join the defense to help them get up to speed and execute more effectively?
Yeah, I think it does. Terrell Bernard is a good example. Missed the whole preseason, all the games, and stepped in right away and did pretty well. His instincts helped him for the lack of reps that he missed in those games. So, to your point, Adam, I would say very similar to Rasul.
We've heard a lot about his leadership, locker room, what kind of guy he is. You guys just signed Josh Norman a couple weeks ago. How much were you looking for a little more of that, considering the youth of the room after losing Tre'Davious?
Yeah, you're definitely looking for that veteran presence, and I think playing reps in this league, seeing what teams are trying to do to you, like anything. He went through some ups and downs that I mentioned a minute ago. The light came on, figuring out this pro game and all that. Corner, as we know, is not an easy position to play, and it took him some time, but he really found his groove in Green Bay. And obviously we've been looking at corners for weeks now since Trey went down, and teams aren't openly willing to give those, and it wasn't easy. It was back and forth. Green Bay did not want to lose him. It took a couple of days. I called on him even last week, and they were not planning to do it, but we finally made it attractive enough for them to do it.
What was the process that got you to there? Did you make the initial call to them weeks ago? How did all this work out?
Yeah, last week, checked in with them. And actually, Terrence Gray, I need to give Terrence some credit. Terrence reached out to one of their guys and just said, is this something you guys would do? And he said, I think it'd be worth Brandon calling Goody, Brian Gutekunst, their GM. So I did last week, and Goody at that time was like, I don't think we'd do that. It means a lot to our team, and even yesterday this time, that was still the tone. But we kept working, and I appreciate Goody's work on his end to be open, and we got it done at the deadline.
Hey, Brandon, how important was it to end the deadline with still having your first or second, assume a third compensatory?
Yeah. I hate giving up any picks, that. But every season hands you different things, and obviously we've faced a few injuries, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and so just trying to find ways. What's the best ways to help our team? I mean, we were looking at offensive players too, though. Is there a player out there that we can add to offense to help us score more points, to help get ahead and let these rushers, we're just that's what Sean and I were talking about. What is out there that can help us? Naturally you're going to look on defense because that's where we lost Daquan, Matt, and Trey. But we looked everywhere and ultimately found that this was the best move for us.
Hey, Brandon, the other night, Josh Norman's active instead of Elam.
Yeah.
He's been a healthy scratch half the year. You make this move. Where are you on your first-round pick from last year?
Yeah, I mean, Kaiir, not everything's been perfect, and he has had a nagging ankle. We're discussing whether to shut him down or not and let it heal. So he has been a scratch. I wouldn't say he's been 100% healthy scratch, but it's part of it has been it hasn't worked out perfectly in the game so far. He was inactive to start until Trey got hurt, but still know that Kaiir can play. And some of the same things I just talked about with Rasul. Not everything worked out for him. I know Josh Norman is here. In Carolina, we drafted Josh in 12, and I know there was multiple times we had to sit Josh down. It just, I believe it was middle of his third year where the light came on, and the next year he really flipped the switch. So I'm still very hopeful. Kaiir's here working hard. He's doing everything. It'd be easy if he's running the streets or not in his playbook. He's doing everything. He's been getting treatment on the ankle around, pretty much around the clock, when he's here. And he's a pro. He wants to do well. And, this game requires confidence and things like that. And, if things don't go well, maybe your confidence drops a little bit. And you'd have to ask Kaiir where that's at. But we're going to stay with him. And, again, we're looking at everything, whether just now that we have, Rasul coming in, maybe shut him down, let the ankle calm down a little bit.
You said you're going to stay with him. Was there any consideration to not?
No, zero.
And where does Leonard Fournette fit into the running back room? Is this simply a don't know exactly what Damian Harris's future brings, or is this something where he's going to maybe get in the mix sooner rather than later?
It's just I'm always trying to find competition. That's really what it is. This guy's a proven player, picked number 4 overall in that 17 draft, has had some success. Same thing, not everything worked out in Jacksonville for him, but he goes to Tampa, and Brady and him clicked in that offense, and you see what he's a bruiser. He's a heavy dude, mid 230s. He looks good. I think when we were drafting him, I think we had him around 239, 240. He's a little bit less than that right now. So yeah, just competition to the room. But he's gonna, he doesn't know this playbook, and so I think it's good of him to come in here, start on the practice squad. He's head down. He's been great, and so we'll take it one day at a time with him, and no promises on anybody's parts from that standpoint.
Brandon, what's the
Just
update
to
on the
clarify, when you say shutting the Kaiir Elam down potentially, would that be just potentially short-term IR? Or is that like for
I mean, IR is it's 4 weeks now, so you put them down, see where it's at, see if we do that move, we would do it to make sure he's 100% before he goes back out there. So if that's 4 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever that is.
Brandon, what's the any feedback from your training doctors on what the projection is on Daquan Jones and Matt? Might they be able to return at any point this season?
Yeah, no, I don't have any update for you there on either guy from that standpoint, John. They're both here trying to rehab, but nothing definitive there.
Brandon, to go back to Kaiir a little bit more, just how do you balance that hope you're saying that things might kind of play out a bit better for him, but also not hanging on too long if they're not working out, but that's hard to project.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a gut, a feel like you've worked through everything, and it's not, like I said, it's not all been bad with Kaiir. It's just, you as the coach, you got to have confidence that everything is ready to roll, that he's perfectly healthy, he can do the job, and like I said, not not everything has worked out perfect, but you know, he's a young player. He's halfway through season 2, and you know, I've gone back and looked at his college stuff, you know, and I see it. I know what's in there. We got to get it out of him. We got to get his confidence up and make sure he gets back to 100%. However we do that, but yeah, that's really what it is. I look at it as a young player, Catherine, and you don't give up on young guys.
How do you see them handling all of that?
Yeah, I think he's done great. I mean, it's hard. You know, he wants to play. He's competitive, and he really wants to play. Naturally, again, you'd have to ask him. Probably frustrated. You know, he doesn't say it. He's a pro. He's not in here griping or anything like that. He's just head down working and trying to get better at the things that the coaches are looking for him to do better.
You said you were looking at cornerbacks for the last couple of weeks. There's a report that you made an aggressive attempt for Jalen Johnson. How much is that true, and how much is Douglas's contract situation? Did that maybe make it a little bit more favorable to make that move?
Yeah, I looked at a lot of them. I don't want to really get into specifics of which ones, but yeah, looked at from the highest ones you can think of that could have been available to guys less talented than Rasul, and talked about them all, debated them all, but we thought, you know, this was in the end, you know, probably got it done an hour before the deadline. We thought this was the best move, you know, that a team was truly willing to part at fair compensation.
And at 5-3, what encourages you? What concerns you about this team?
What encourages me, you know, I believe in this team, and I believe there's a lot of good things happen. I believe, you know, yes, we've lost some games, but we're not getting our doors blown off, anything like that. If we were getting run out of the gym, I'd be concerned. All these games that you win or lose. I mean, we've won some too that you go, man, we probably left them in the game too long. Just some things you got to clean up, but this team is still forming its identity. And while we know a lot more than we knew probably 4 or 5 weeks ago, I wouldn't say we know exactly where this team's going to be. You know, I think back to that 2021 team, middle of the season, we were win a game, lose a game, win a game. We were still trying to in a rut, and you face different adversity. And when you lose some guys at once, the way we did on defense, some leaders and different positions in Milano and Trey and Daquan, we're human. Those guys are human. It naturally rocks you a little bit. Like, all right, who's stepping up? Who's doing this? And now more guys are taking reps that weren't getting reps, whether it's at linebacker, DT, all that stuff. So it just takes time. I think the coaches have done a really good job of getting the next guy. You know, it's next man up. Easy to say, not always easy to pull off. But I think the more reps these replacements that have come in for the guys I've mentioned, the better they get, the unit. Hopefully we can stay healthy. They'll get better and better. And same thing for offense. I think, you know, I thought they really showed some life last week in Tampa. It had been a little bit of a rut, you know, since the London game. That wasn't a lot of fun, the whole trip. But beyond that, we'll, you know, it is what it is. But no, I think long season to go, and we'll see where it ends.
I just spent a lot of time in Cincinnati with DeMar at his bedside. Mm-hmm. The prospect of going back to Cincinnati this weekend and just what maybe you might think of as you arrive there on Saturday and see the game on Sunday.
Yeah, you're naturally going to think. I mean, it's human. Everyone that was there will. I think right now our focus is just we know we got an opponent, and so we're just trying to focus on that and make that the main thing. Because if you're not, that's a really good team. You will get run out of the gym. And they've obviously played games there. But, no, I think, you know, internally everyone's doing a great job of just do your job, focus on it. And, you know, obviously, like I said, you're human. You're not going to walk in there and not think about it. But, you know, everyone's going to, you know, compartmentalize it the best they can and go do their job.
Understanding all of that, Brandon, in the big picture, like the outcome there, the medical response, his recovery.
Yeah.
What we've seen from an awareness standpoint in CPR training, you know, beyond football, I mean, just, have you taken time to reflect on that, and as you kind of look back at that, to see the impact that that whole thing has made in a very positive way?
Yeah, I mean, a lot to be proud of, a lot to be thankful for. Thankful for how it turned out for DeMar first and foremost, and proud of all the people on our staff. Cool to get to know a lot of the people in Cincinnati in those hospitals, and to be cool to give those people a hug and a handshake again, and thank you, and that kind of thing. But no, and what DeMar's done with it is amazing. He could have just worried about, hey, I'm glad I got my life back, I'm focused on, but he's played football and got himself ready while also helping a lot of people with CPR, AEDs, all that stuff, even internationally. I think he was doing stuff in London too. So a lot of positive came out of that.
What has impressed you about Kincaid and Torrance so far?
I think both of those guys are it's not been too big for them early. Sometimes guys look good in practice, but then you get into the speed of the game, and it's a little too fast. It's just a different speed. You try and warn them, but you can't replicate that speed. And I think both of them, Torrance coming from Louisiana going to Florida probably helped him a lot. I think if he'd have come from Louisiana and not transferred, I don't know if it would have happened as fast for him. I do think playing in the SEC really helped him, but that's probably the biggest thing. They don't flinch, either one of them, good or bad, and they don't really act like rookies. I know people say that sometimes, but I don't think, definitely by now, guys are looking at them as rookies. They've done enough, and they've established themselves the roles on our offense.
The decision to bring back Vaughn when he did back into the game versus maybe giving him another week of practice or that sort of thing, how does that, a couple weeks removed from that, how do you reflect on that, and what went into that decision to bring him back when you did?
Well, you're trying to, there's no perfect solution probably, because you'd love to send them through training camp, and there's only so many padded practices that you can do. And so playing on air, running the hoops, running through drills is only going to get you so far. It's like when guys are rehabbing, at some point the trainer and the rehab guys have to push them off to the coaches and have them doing real live football stuff. So some of the game stuff is what he needs as part of the comeback. We could have kept him out for 2 or 3 more weeks, had him practice more, but those game reps he's probably gaining more from those than he would off of practice where contact's limited.
Brandon, how would you assess Sean's ability to manage the defensive play calling duties and head coaching duties at this point?
Yeah, I think he's done a hell of a job. I really do. I mean, it's a lot. He's put a lot of time in, even more. I mean, it's not that he wasn't putting time in. He's meticulous in putting a lot, but he's done a heck of a job, and I think our guys respond to the way he is. He's naturally fiery in there. He's gotten to know some of those guys' personalities a little bit more, and I don't think he's mismanaging the game, which could easily happen when you're locked in. I think he's done a good job with that. We got a good team of people that he counts on for different things, phases of the game, whether it's replay, clock, all those items. But no, he's done a great job, and I think it'll continue to even get better. Every week that he's continuing to do it.
We asked the coaches about Jordan's role last week, playing a little bit more closer line of scrimmage, like a dime defender, more at the linebacker level. From your perspective, roster construction, seeing that and his versatility, how much of that plays into kind of what you did or going forward, what you think about how he can be using this team?
Yeah, I mean, Jordan is a football player, and people keep talking about positionless football players and versatile. We talk about all the time, the more positions you can play, the versatility you add, that's just another piece that Sean can use, and that was part of, adding Taylor Rapp in here, knowing that, Poyer was going into free agency, DeMar's situation, like, how's it all going to shake out? Mike is coming back from a neck. Let's just add some guys that can play, and however it shakes out, Sal, we got guys that can play football, and, I think Taylor could do some of that too if we wanted to flip it back or whatever. I think, Sean and the coaches have just done a great job of mixing and matching different guys in different skill sets, different packages. And, I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to come up with different ways to use these guys.
How do you
About the defensive, how do you feel about the defensive tackle situation right now without Daquan, and would you be open to maybe adding at that spot in free agency moving forward?
Yeah, looking at that hardcore and definitely discussed that with some teams, the last couple weeks as well. Nothing's final, but we've definitely been working on some stuff.
Would you like a later trade deadline?
Nope, I wouldn't. I think ultimately, I know there's push for back. I got it if it's a week or two, but I think you get too far down. Like, I think some teams truly may turn on the tank button or whatever it is. I just, I would hate if you're rolling along, everything's good, and then there's 5 weeks to go in the season, and a team you're competing against just trades for 3 huge pieces, and now it changes the game. You did all that work. You know what I mean? I think there's a fine balance to it, and I think there's still enough teams in it that people aren't just going to give players away at this point, which I think some sports that they just do that. They're almost hoping to lose, and I'm not a fan of the whole tanking thing. Yeah. Thank you.